Well, hi everyone, welcome to today's blog as we bring this period of looking at the Holy Spirit and his work and her work in the world to, not to a close, but to the seminar to a close. May the work of the Holy Spirit continue to work in us and through us, but it's been fascinating looking at this particular study on the Holy Spirit because looking at the Holy Spirit has been one of the most neglected parts of the life of the church in modern times, apart from those that have really got into it. The wider church has tended to sort of do a lot about Jesus, a lot about God as creator maybe, but often to neglect the power and the work of the Holy Spirit as part of the Trinity of God. Today we're going to be looking at the idea of the Holy Spirit gives us gifts, which is really great. We can all enjoy a gift. We could do with a bit more warmth and sunshine at the moment. I know that much. It's a bit like February out here today, but we're outside nonetheless as we share this blog together. So what are these gifts that the Holy Spirit can give to us? We can often talk about the gift of the Holy Spirit. Well, the first and most important gift of the Holy Spirit is the gift of himself. Before ever we look at gifts of prophecy or the ability to show hospitality or generosity or many other things, the first thing the Holy Spirit does is to give us the gift of himself. And this can be really helpful. It says in John's Gospel, chapter 14, Jesus is talking about what the future looks like, and he says, "I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you, to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he lives with you and indeed will be in you." So this is really helpful because many people say, well, if there is God at all, where in the world is God? And of course the reality is God is right here, always now. We can look for him above the stars. People point still to up when they're talking about God sometimes. But the reality of the gift of the Holy Spirit is to know that God is with you, and indeed you're with him and in his presence. And this can be really helpful because in prayer, for instance, it becomes more than a sense of listening rather than, yes, we all cry out to God, but it also becomes a way of listening to God and being still in his presence and just trusting that process. Those of you who've got ever into meditation or contemplative prayer, it's about just recognizing that God is always here. We may be busy with many other things in all that we do all the time, a bit like breathing really. We just take breathing for granted. But ultimately it's about realizing that we're always breathing, and in that sense the Holy Spirit and the presence of God is always with us. That can be a great comfort and a great gift. The second gift is really about spiritual power. Now, again, sometimes people have really gone after and sought this spiritual power, often when they're in difficult situations and crises themselves. So this comes with a little bit of a government health warning, but in Romans chapter 8, St. Paul writes, "But if Christ is with you, then even though your body is subject to death because of sin, the Spirit gives you life because of righteousness. And if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give you life to your mortal bodies because of his Spirit who lives in you." Now that sounds a bit of a tongue twister. What is that all about? Well, that would take a whole blog in itself, but in short terms it's this. The spiritual power that was there and enabled Jesus' resurrection on that first Easter day is the same Holy Spirit who is in you. And the gift of that Easter life is not just that you can go and use his power and, a bit like, say, Bruce Almighty, do what you want, how you want. No, you need to be wanting to align your desire to change both who you are and the world around you, but in alignment with the Holy Spirit and with the resurrection. So, for instance, where you maybe are struggling with issues of conflict or disagreement, to find that inner spirit to be able to try and bring about reconciliation, for instance. That would be a wonderful resurrection use of of strength, and you praying for the Holy Spirit to help you in that will give you that ability to maybe forgive somebody, or to seek to sit down with them and try and work out things, or whatever. This is the work of the Spirit. It will take you not into safety and security, but often into challenge and into difficulty. That's the health warning. It's not for those who want the easy life, but it is incredibly useful and powerful to be able to realize that we don't have to do everything on our own. God will help us in the most difficult of challenges. The final gift from the Holy Spirit today is from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Paul talks about there being many gifts, but all coming from the one and the same Spirit. Some people are great at music, some people are great at art, some people are great at speaking, some people are great at kindness or whatever, but it all comes from the one and the same person. And you have a gift. Even I have a gift.